people think like they do kung fu and like other stuff like that. But I mean, they have it in like other like villages. But other than that, like Beijing is just like a normal city with over like 10 million people. I guess it wasn't really that hard for me to deal with personally because I'm already like Asian. So like a lot of people thought I was Chinese, and like they were like sometimes some people would like ask me to translate for like my white friends, and then I'd have to tell them like, oh, I'm not Chinese, and then like I tell them I'm American, and then they'd be like, you're not American. Like they straight up tell me you're not American. I'm like, okay, then what am I? Because I was born and raised in the States, and they're like, oh no, you're Korean. And then with like my white friends, a lot of the Chinese people would come up and like touch their hair or something and like ask to take pictures. So like they're like celebrities. like they treated them as celebrities. I guess I was raised in the Korean culture, so I'm basically first generation American. So I was raised at home as a Korean, but then like when I go to school, it's like I was raised like with the American culture. Or like when I go to Korea, like a lot of people like don't think I'm Korean. Like I mean, I'm Korean like by blood, but like culturally, I grew up in the States. So it's like, yeah, I mean like you look Korean, but you definitely don't dress or act like a Korean. So it's like I'm not really accepted in Korea, and it's like I'm not accepted over there. It's like, well, I'm not Korean. Like I don't see myself as a Korean. I'm a Korean American. So it's like it got annoying, but then it's like I got used to it. I was like, okay, I'll accept that I'll tell you what if I'm Korean. Well, so I'm like from Korean background, so like I guess it's kind of similar, not really, like but so like I had some expectations that were similar to Koreans, but like China has been like separated from the world like with this like history, so like I knew it was gonna be very different.
And so you talked a little bit about what you expected, how you expected it to be different from Korean culture, but could you like expand upon that and talk about what you expected from your trip before you went?
Well, I say like expectation wise, I know like it's like China's like a growing country like economically, and I know like because it's been isolated, like the whole globalization kind of factor didn't apply there, whereas like Korea, like it's very westernized. So China was like I knew it wasn't gonna be as like westernized, like. There's a lot of negotiating when you like buy something, which is like you never see that over here. Like there's like a lot of weird things that happen. Like I don't really like they have like a lot of parents take like their babies and then like have them go to the bathroom over like a public trash can. It's like okay, like I mean that's normal now. Like by the end of the semester, I was like okay, like yeah. Getting on the subway, like there's like no personal bubble space like here. It's like they're gonna be as efficient as possible and just like cram everyone in as much as they can. So stuff like that. I just like accepted it, moved on. Okay, I guess that's how it is over here. And like learning Chinese over there too. Like you learn like a lot of like Chinese has like these like 4-character sayings. Where it's like, I mean, we have it too, I guess. Like, it's like, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, like stuff. Like, we had to learn all of that. and I also, like, hung out with, like, because, like, the program is, like, it's a program for American students. So I was with, like, friends from the States. So even though I was in China, I still, like, had people from my own culture. So that was, like, a good setback if, like, I had any problem. Honestly, not really, because I mean, ever since I came to college, I haven't really been back home. So like, I like exploring. It's kind of sad because I also made a lot of friends while I was there. So like the program was not just AU students, but like students from like different schools, like William Mary, like Colby, like Boston College. China is also like very cheap. So it's like standard of living. It's like, oh, like I have to go to the States, or it's gonna be super expensive. Oh, the first thing when I got back to the States was blue skies. Because when I went to China, it was like it was all over the news, like CNN, like China had like the worst pollution problems and like record high pollution levels, and like literally like every day was like gray. And so when I came back, like I probably spent a good month just like every day waking up and like just observing how blue the sky is. Yeah, I think it did to a certain level. Um, Definitely, you feel more cultured. Just like you kind of understand um, the different like, cultures that the cultural differences that we have. I don't know. I don't really know if it's like changed, but it's just like kind of like in the back of my head. It's just I just kind of have that knowledge of I understand the Korean American culture, like I understand the American culture, and then now like I have like knowledge of like the Chinese culture. So it's just like I just like kind of see things more broadly, I guess. Like one thing to add is one of the classes I took is the was a Sino-U.S. relations class or Sino-American relations class, and it was really interesting to see like so it's basically U.S.-China relations, like diplomatic relations, and the interesting thing is looking at politics from like the Chinese viewpoint. So it's like like everything like they see things like oh like in the U.S. like why is your Congress so powerful, like why does everything have to be passed in Congress, like where there it's like they have a Congress but they don't really have much influence, like it's like all like run by the head of the state. So like, it was really interesting. A lot of social issues are very ignored, I guess, over there. I mean I've talked to a lot of like Chinese like locals, and like they kind of like know like how like corrupt the government is, and it's like basically if you're part of the Communist Party, like you like know like you have the upper hand, like you like so you can ask favors for like anyone, and like and they'll listen to you because you're part of the party. Well, it's definitely Beijing is like a northern city. And I've been to like Shanghai. I mean, while I was there, like we took a lot of trips. I mean, mainly close around Beijing, so like Shanghai, like Nanjing. I went up to Harbin, and then like Xi'an, which is like in the western part. But if I could go back, I definitely want to go like in the south, the southern area, where it's culture they're different, warmer weather, and they kind of look different. I mean, China's like a huge country. There's like over like something like over 56 different ethnicities in that one country. So it's like very different even when you go to some different cities, and then they even have like different dialects, so you kind of get used to that. Beijing's a okay city other than the pollution part, but I would definitely want to experience like the south, like somewhere near like Hong Kong. Yeah.